Today, what I want to talk about is Garmin's Body Battery. Is it worth it? What do I think about it? Should you get a device that has this on it? Should you pay attention to it? What have I found out in my research and in my experiments when I'm testing Garmin's Body Battery? So first of all, what is it? Garmin's Body Battery uses stress and gives you a score based on how ready you are for the day. So for example, it takes things like your sleep. Takes things like your heart rate variability or stress. And they take things like your workouts and what you've been doing throughout the day to tell you if you're ready. It gives you a score up to 100 to tell you how ready you are. So very similar to like a gas tank. Like when your gas tank's on empty, you don't got anything. When your gas tank's full, you're like good to go. So that's what it does. That's the goal. So how well does it work? Should you get it? So first of all, what device is it on? So I have Garmin's Forerunner 945, which is the current flagship device. The Forerunner and Phoenix line are Garmin's current flagship devices. But it's also on some of their lower models, like the Vivo Smart 4. So one of the things I would recommend is if you're looking for a device with body battery, check Garmin's website because they have a bunch of devices with it and a bunch of devices without it. And I would say price makes a difference, but it doesn't because some of their lowest devices have it and some of their highest have it and some of their mid don't. So you got to check. And unfortunately, Garmin has like 50 different devices to make it really confusing for the end user. So you got to check. So go ahead, check that out if you're interested in buying it. But let's talk about Garmin's Body Battery. So how well does it work? So let me show you what it even looks like. So first of all, here's what it looks like on your mobile device. Here's what it looks like on your watch, assuming that you have one of the higher end devices that can display it. Otherwise, if you don't have a higher end device, it's simply just going to show a number. But you know the number goes up to 100, so that's what you need. You need the number. And you know everything you do throughout the day affects your body battery. So as you are working out, as you are not getting a good night's sleep, your body battery is going down. As you sleep really well and your heart rate variability is recovering, your body battery recharges. So heart rate variability is, the time between beats of your heart. And it is a metric with a significant amount of research behind it that shows us that it is a great way to look at your recovery, how well your body is responding to stress and external stimuli like exercise, and can tell you if you're ready to go. So what a lot of people do is they take a one-time daily HRV measurement, whereas Body Battery is measuring this statistic 24/7. So how well do I think it works? So first of all, in my tests, I can tell you, Body Battery knows. So when I work out, obviously it's going to track that. If it didn't do that, it would be a terrible thing, but it does. So it knows like my stress of what I'm doing throughout the day. Like, am I working out? Am I burning calories? What am I doing? It's going to go down. But the interesting thing is it doesn't just automatically go up at night when I go to bed. I have some anxiety. I get migraines sometimes and stuff like that. If I'm having an episode like that, Body Battery knows, and it'll show I'm stressed all night, and it won't go up and recharge. It tells me you actually had a bad night's sleep. I've heard some people say, well, I slept for 5 hours and Body Battery was recharged. I'm saying, you know what? You had a good 5 hours of sleep. You're lucky. Because when I do not have a good 5 hours of sleep because of anxiety or migraine medication, Body Battery knows and it does not charge. Trust me. The other thing about this is, let's say I take, and I just did a video about this, let's say I have a glass or two of wine. Oh, Body Battery knows. It tells me exactly when the wine wore off and how bad of a sleep I got because of it. If I just anything like that, it tells you and it will not charge. So it is pretty cool in that it does recognize all that stuff. I've got to say, so my interpretation of it is that it's a pretty impressive feature. Now let me talk about it in comparison to your daily HRV. So your daily HRV is when you take like a chest strap, for those of you not familiar, you measure your HRV when you wake up for anywhere between 1 and 5 minutes and use an app or some kind of software to analyze your score to tell you if you're ready or not based on your 1 or 5 minute reading of heart rate variability. Now, what's interesting is I did a statistical comparison, and I actually did a video on this, where I measured how I felt that day versus Garmin's Body Battery versus my HRV reading. And basically what I was looking for is there a difference in how I really feel versus the body battery versus the HRV to determine if any of them were accurate, giving me false positives or anything like that. What I found, first of all, was that there was no statistical difference between them. But when I eyeballed the data, there was more, the body battery was more accurate than my daily HRV reading based on how I felt. It just was not a significant difference. I used a t-test to do a statistical analysis. There was no significant difference. But when you eyeballed the data, there was less inaccuracies in body battery. So I do want to point that out. I think that is a pretty good finding to gauge all three of those measures. And also, I think it's good to show that I did find a difference in body battery, even though it wasn't statistically significant. So what does that tell me? It tells me the body battery is a pretty cool feature to use in addition to your daily HRV or how you feel. But here's the advantage of body battery over that daily HRV. I'll give you an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is that it does a much better job of telling me why I didn't recharge. For example, that night that I had the 2 glasses of wine like a week ago, my body battery, I had them right before bed. So between 10 a.m. and 3 a.m., my body battery didn't charge at all. And I noticed that it started, I showed high stress, bad sleep, and no recharge until 3 a.m. and then it charged. So when I saw that morning my body battery wasn't charged, I could go look at just click right on the graph and see like, wow, I see why it didn't charge. I didn't sleep well for the first 5 hours of my normal sleep. Whereas my 1 minute HRV reading that morning just said lower HRV, but there was no more data for me to look at to try to interpret why, unless I actually went into my body battery and started to figure out what happened. So it gives you more information, which I think is extremely useful. Now, the disadvantage of body battery is you got to wear the thing 24/7. It's only a watch and I'm wearing it anyway, so for me it's not a big deal. But it's much easier, if you don't like wearing stuff, it's much easier to just take a 1 minute chest strap reading per day and get something. Again, I didn't find it as accurate as body battery, the chest reading. Even though it wasn't statistically significant, I didn't think it was as accurate compared to how I felt. So I think that that's super interesting. So do I think the feature works? I think it's pretty darn close to working. I think it's pretty good. I think it's like really good. I mean, if you're interested in testing your HRV, and seeing how your body recovers, a number for how you handle stress, anything like that, I honestly think it's the best one. I've tested Aura Ring, I've tested Whoop, I've tested Garmin, I've tested Apple, I've tested them all. And some of them, with Apple doesn't even have anything. It just has an HRV that's periodic, so it's not even in the running between those three. But if you're interested in tracking, are you ready, a readiness score, I think it's the best one. I think it's the best one by a lot. The only thing Garmin does not give me that is super annoying is they don't give me the numbers of my HRV. Like, give me the numbers. I want to see those numbers. They're hiding that piece of data, which I hope they open up eventually. But just the body battery and number of itself, I think is the best thing we have right now to determine how well you're recovering, how well your body's doing, what's happening. Now, there are things like, I use Training Peaks and Strava and Golden Cheetah for fitness and freshness. I think that those are great for measuring my fitness over time and to look at long lengths of time to see, am I improving, decreasing my fitness level? But I don't think they do a good job of interpreting day to day, because guess what? That fitness and freshness score from Golden Cheetah or Training Peaks or whatever doesn't tell me that when I was out like mowing my lawn and gardening and running around all day, doing yard work, fixing my fence, that I had a hard day and I'm not ready to train the next day. That fitness and freshness says you're good to go, when no way. Guess what? Body battery picks that up. So and that's why I like that you have it 24/7, because it captures all of those moments, which I think are very important to something like this. So is it worth it? If you're looking for that kind of score, it's 100% worth it. You can buy a Vivo Smart 4 that has body battery off eBay for $50. So for $50, you can have body battery. Or you can buy a new device. So, the 945 or Phoenix, you can get them anywhere between $500 and $600, assuming you're in the United States. That's how much they cost. So you can, and that's if you find a sale, because normal prices starts at around $600 for those. But I do think it's worth it. I do think it's probably one of my favorite health metric features that I've been able to test, and I really like it. I've been very impressed by it. I hate speaking so highly of something, but I really think this feature is something that's really cool, and they're onto something here. It's doing something that I really like. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think of Garmin's Body Battery. I know some people just hate it, but maybe you just haven't looked at it enough. I don't know. Or you're not using it correctly, but maybe you are and it just doesn't work for you. I know some of these features on these watches, like they work so well for someone and the next person, like they don't work at all. Like my Apple Watch, the heart rate just, I can't, it just doesn't like my wrist. It doesn't like my bony wrist for some reason. Apple Watch hates my wrist, whereas Garmin loves my wrist and measures it perfectly. So like, and I don't blame the Apple Watch for it. It's not built for me for whatever reason. So, let me know what you think of Body Battery. Tell me in the comments. Let me know what you think. Later all.